English 1-on-1. We begin the second part on subject-verb agreement with rule number 12. This rule says, when you use words like several, many, both, and few as the subject, they're always going to be plural because they show the quantity of countable nouns. When you use words like much, little, less, they're always going to be singular because they show you the quantity of non-countable nouns. For example, both are happy with the grades they got. Many were lost on the way, and few have done their homework. Now you try. Much. Much represents non-countable nouns. Therefore, much has been said about the health insurance during the president's speech. Rule number 13 says some nouns are always going to be plural, and they will always take the plural form of the verb. For example, trousers, pants, slacks, shorts, briefs, jeans, glasses, sunglasses, scissors, pliers, tweezers. For example, my jeans are old. But do not confuse the word jeans with a pair of jeans. If now you use a new pair of jeans, your subject is going to be singular. If you remember rule number 2, which says of jeans is going to be a prepositional phrase, therefore it's junk. Therefore, the simple subject is going to be pair, one pair. That's why a new pair of jeans costs. So the word jeans is becoming a part of a prepositional phrase, whereas in this sentence, jeans is the simple subject, and it has an S, therefore it's plural. Rule number 14 talks about some nouns that look plural because they have ending S, but in reality they're actually singular nouns, like physics, mathematics, statistics, economics, news, politics, ethics, measles, mumps. For example, mathematics is difficult for many students. Now you try. Statistics requires complicated methods. Rule number 15. Some nouns have the same singular and plural forms. They take singular or plural verb depending on the meaning. For example, species, series, deer, fish, sheep, and bison. This species of monkeys lives only in India. So the word species means singular, but there are many species of monkeys. And this word species, spelled the same, but now represents the plural form of this. Now you try. A few bison are wandering in the field. The plural of a bison is bison. And now we come to rule number 16. That can be a little bit tricky. So some nouns and pronouns like all, any, most, none, more, part, some, half, fraction, like 1/2, 2/3, or a lot of, or percentage, may take either a singular or plural verb. It all depends on the prepositional phrase that they follow. Yes, rule number 2 says do not consider the prepositional phrases. They are junk. Rule number 16 says the opposite. Yes, they're junk, but they are actually dictating you, telling you what the subject is going to be, singular or plural. For example, all of the pie is gone. So you can see that of the pie is the prepositional phrase here, and the word pie is singular. Because pie is singular, now all is going to be singular as well, and therefore the verb is. But when you say all of the cookies are gone, cookies is now plural, therefore all is going to be plural. Now you try. 80% of students have passed the test. Now the prepositional phrase is of students, and students is plural, therefore 80% is going to be plural. Another confusing rule. Yes, I'm sorry, this video is full of confusing rules. Rule number 17 says, do not confuse two possible subjects, the number and a number. The number is always treated as a singular. A number is always treated as plural. For example, the number of employees has decreased this year. So the word the number means a unit, like a specific number, let's say 25 employees. So the number is 25. So this singular number, therefore it's always going to be singular. The number has decreased. Now, again, as you remember, rule number 2 says of employees is going to be a prepositional phrase. We're going to eliminate this, and so the number is going to be your simple subject. A number of employees are being fired this year. Now, a number refers to some or many individual employees. And again, of employees is a prepositional phrase. A number is going to be your simple subject. And a number means can be replaced by some or many. So some employees are being fired. So do not confuse the number and a number. They don't really have anything in common. They mean different things. The only thing they have in common is just this word, number. Now you try. The number of extinct species is growing every year. And again, of extinct species is a prepositional phrase. It's going to be junk. And the number means one specific number, singular. So is growing every year. Okay, now here's a fun rule. Rule number 18 says, when subjects are joined by words such as neither nor, either or, not only but also, the verb must agree with the closer subject. For example, not only the man, but also his wife knows the answer. So the compound subject here is not only the man, but also his wife. The closer noun, the closest subject to the verb is going to be wife. So the rest is going to be considered junk. And because wife is singular, the verb takes the singular form, knows. Either the man or his friends know the answer. Once again, the compound subject is either the man or his friends. But the closer subject to the verb is friends, and it's plural. Therefore, the verb know is going to take the plural form, know. Now you try. Either the children or the man knows the answer. Rule number 19. Collective nouns are usually singular when regarded as a unit. For example, family, jewelry, committee, group, team, money, class. My family lives in Ankara. Now, family might mean plural for some of you, but if you look at this noun, the noun is singular. It's a family versus families. Now, families is plural. So if you're going to use families, you would say families live, but a family lives. Our team has won every game this year. Team is a collective noun and it's one team, even though the team has several members. The noun team is singular. Now you try. There is not enough money. Money is a singular noun, always a singular noun. In some cultures, money is used as a plural noun. In English, money is always singular. There is not enough money, unless you want to say dollars. or coins or pennies, then you would say, there are not enough dollars in my purse. Now, this is a fun rule. Rule number 20 says, when units of measurement for distance, time, volume, height, weight, money, etc. are used as subjects, they take the singular verb form. Let's look at this picture. What do you see? You see some sugar, right? And if you want to estimate how much sugar we have here, you probably say a spoon or 2 spoons. So 2 spoons of sugar was all the cake recipe called for. So 2 spoons of sugar here means the amount, how much sugar we need. And again, if as you remember, of sugar is a prepositional phrase, therefore 2 spoons is your simple subject, but it's also a singular subject because 2 spoons represent the amount, how much. Unlike on this picture. Now, what do you see on this picture? You see spoon number 1 and spoon number 2. So, and they both have sugar. So we have 2 teaspoons of sugar are lying here. So in this case, you literally mean 2 teaspoons of sugar, and they're going to be plural. It's not the amount, it's the spoons you count. Well, of course, you can have more than 2 spoons. Like on this picture, you see 8 spoons. So if you count every single spoon and you don't count sugar, you say 8 spoons of sugar are lying on the table. Again, it's not about the amount, how much, it's about how many spoons. Now you try. 4 pounds of rice seems to be more than we really need. Again, the compound subject is 4 pounds of rice. Of rice is a prepositional phrase, and 4 pounds means measurement, unit. How much rice? And it's going to be singular. Seems. Another intricate rule, Rule 21. Rule 21 says when you connect article the with an adjective, you create a plural noun. And therefore, it requires a plural verb. For example, the rich are not always happy. The rich means rich people. It's plural. The young like to listen to loud music. The young means young men, young people. The English are very polite. The English means people from England. Do not confuse the English with English. English is a language. The English are the people. Now you try. The Japanese are the best at making sushi. The Japanese means people who live in Japan. Rule 22 says question words who and what can be a subject, and it takes the singular form of the verb. Now also, when we ask a question about the subject in a sentence, we use who or what, and they will also take the singular form of the verb. Let's take a look. Who is interested in volunteering work? Now, even though the answer could be a few people, which is plural, grammatically in the question you have to use a singular form. So the singular form of the verb to be is. Who is? But then the answer, of course, could be plural. A few people are interested. I'm not sure what it takes to start a small business. What is replacing the subject here? Even though you might mention several things, the sentence will require still the singular verb takes. What takes? Now you try. Who wants to go tonight? Even though you might have several friends who are interested, you still have to use the singular form. Who wants? We are almost there. Rule 23 says an infinitive can be used as the subject in a sentence, and it always takes the singular form of the verb. Unless you have 2 infinitives joined by and, then you will have the plural form of the verb. For example, to write academic essays is not easy. Now let's look at the compound subject, to write academic essays. Even though you have essays as a plural noun here, it's not considered as a simple subject. The simple subject is going to be the infinitive to write, and it's always going to be singular, no matter how many essays you're going to write. In basketball, to dribble well and to shoot accurately require practice. Now, the compound subject has two infinitives, to dribble and to shoot. We have two subjects joined by and, it's going to be plural. Now you try. To read books helps to learn new vocabulary. Again, we are looking only at the infinitive to read. No matter how many books you read, one or two, you're going to look at to read, which is going to be the subject. You did it. That's the last rule for today, for this video. Rule 24 is very similar to Rule 23 that says a gerund that is used as the subject of a sentence takes also the singular form of the verb. Now remember, gerunds are ing words that are formed from a verb. So they function as nouns, not verbs. For example, write, writing, go, going, be, being. Now again, if you have two gerunds linked by and, you'll have to use the plural form of the verb. For example, saddling the wild horse was no easy task for the cowboy. Again, the compound subject is saddling the wild horse. Again, you can have a horse or two horses. The subject, the simple subject, is still going to be the gerund saddling, and it's always singular. Now, let's take a look at this example. Collecting antique jewelry and playing the guitar are my hobbies. You have a compound subject, but two gerunds, collecting and playing. You have a plural subject. Now you try. Roller skating in the parks is easier than on the roads. Again, this is your gerund, this is your singular subject. And in the parks is a prepositional phrase. Rule number 2.